Hey everybody, it's ShadowStar here, and it is finally time for me to rank every episode in Modern Doctor Who Series 12. So, Series 12 has got a lot of controversy in it, and we'll definitely get into that in a minute. It definitely wasn't as easy to rank as Series 11, where my opinions were clear-cut. My opinions for Series 12 are all over the place, like most people's, to be honest, and there are episodes where I both enjoy them but also hate things they did, and we'll obviously get into that in a minute. But let's start off with an easy one. One I utterly hate. It is time for the worst episode of Series 12, and the worst episode there is, Orphan 55. God, this episode sucks. It's just, first off, it's boring. There's nothing exciting about it. We're on a boring dead planet. But it turns out the planet's Earth. Seriously, how many times... Stop messing with continuity. How many times is Earth going to be moved and put back and moved and put back? So, like, it was moved in the Mysterious Planet, now it's back. It was moved in Orphan 55, and it's back. Earth has gone through so many names and so many movements, it's ridiculous. And the planet's dead, and the planet's life. Is this before or after... Or is this before or after the Mysterious Planet? Is it before or after Starship UK? How does this fit in with the Earth looking relatively fine in the end of the world? Like, make up your mind with a future continuity. And that's even the least of my problems. I mean, look, we all know I'm not that far. I'm fine when episodes want to have a message. There's plenty of episodes that have great messages, like the Zygon episode, or other episodes, or Rosa. But the Doctor literally just looks at the camera and tells us to take care of the planet. Thanks, guys. You couldn't have woven it more organically into the story, like a better episode in the season? Oh, and did I forget to mention the side cast? You have random people, you have Ryan sucking his thumb, and of course, you have that old woman yelling for Benny, 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 Benny. God, is that annoying? Because it's annoying. Anyway, every human on Earth probably hates Orphan 55. If you don't, I'm baffled beyond belief. But then again, nothing surprises me these days, so what do I know? Either way, God, I hate this episode. Anyway... Moving on to 8th position, it's... Can you hear me? What the hell was this episode? Seriously, credit at least for the creatively drawn sequence where we talk about the two gods and the planets and it's all animated. I'll give you credit for that. Graham has some good lines and the idea of exploring nightmares is a cool thing. But it just kind of came and went so fast and like, we spend so much of the episode focusing on the companions staying at home, doing nothing, and then in the last 10 minutes, it's staying at home and doing... It turns out this was a mental health episode? Again, I'm okay with having an episode with a message, but, like, this just came out of nowhere. It's like, okay, the villains are here, they're cool, and they're gone. And now we're just going to focus on the fact that Yaz was apparently suffering from depression and wanting to run away and possibly suicidal, and... Guys, you could have made that a bit more interesting. It came out of nowhere. Okay, let's get on to an actually good episode, but it's alright. The Haunting of Villa Diodotti, or whatever the name of this episode is. I've heard a lot of people love this episode. Me, I'm alright with it. Maybe because I'm not a big fan of haunted house episodes, but it's alright. The Cyberman is cool in this episode, but that's about it. It's mostly just the Cyberman and set up for the next episode, but other than that, remove the Cybermen and you've just got a kind of standard haunted house episode. Are things ghosts? They're not really ghosts. It was actually this guy. You know, alright, it's kind of a haunted house with things moving and changing, but otherwise it's like, none of the characters really engage me that much. I'm not that into haunted house episodes, but hey, the Cyberman's cool at least. Alright, 6th position. It's Praxius. Hey look, this episode has 2 episodes about the environment. At least this one's done a lot better. This time, rather than just a vague statement of take care of the planet, it's at least more grounded in reality because it's about the dangerous microplastics in the ocean and our bodies. At least that one's a bit better. Also, it's creepy. Well, I say creepy because Praxius looks really disturbing and creepy. But you know me, I like things happening on a microscopic scale, I can't speak. I like things happening on a microscopic scale that affects things on a large scale. So when you think about the microplastics and then it emerges as this crazy, disgusting plastic thing on your face, ugh, it's gross. We've had episodes about plastic before with the Autons, and I like that they at least reference the Autons, but they managed to make it creepy. That being said, it's Series 12, so the side cast are completely unbearable. Like, what was half the characters? I was like, there's so many characters in this episode, I can't keep track of them. There's the two spacemen. No, there's one spaceman and his partner. And then there's these vloggers who either Chibnall doesn't understand how vlogging works, or it's a running gag about vloggers who have a big ego. I don't know which it is, because these vloggers are constantly surprised that nobody's heard of them. Like, I don't care how big your vlog channel is, most people aren't going to have heard of you. They're shocked that, oh, Ryan doesn't know who is it. They're like, oh, I haven't been around, sorry, I don't know you. No, the real answer is you just don't know them. Most people don't know every vlog channel. Even if you're as big as PewDiePie, there are going to be people who don't know who you are. That was so dumb. These characters are just dumb. But, like I said, I at least enjoy the creepy factor of the microplastics. And hey, at least they handled the environmental message better than Orphan 55. Okay. In 5th position, it's the big one. It's the episode that broke the fandom. It's the Timeless Children. You're probably wondering, why didn't I put this lower? I hate the Timeless Child concept. First off, this episode does have some good qualities. The Master's in it and he's great in it. The Cybermen are in it and I like that too. And even when we're talking about plot points I don't like, they're executed in a very well way. I like the Doctor understanding this new revelation, and I like the Master explaining it. So even if I don't like the Timeless Child, at least that's a good aspect. But then there's the Timeless Children itself. I don't honestly know how I feel about this. On one hand, it feels like they just threw in this crazy plot twist for the fun of it. It's like, hey, look, we could put in a plot twist. It's like, why? What do you get out of it? It's like, I'm sorry, we're one episode away from the end of Jodie Whittaker's era, and it's gone nowhere, and I doubt it's going to go any further, especially based on Chris Chibnall interviews. So why do we need this? I don't know. Now, I do like exploring Gallifrey's past, so that part was fine. When you find out it's a Doctor, that's the part we get annoyed at. Especially when you have to tie it into the Ruth Doctor, or the Fugitive Doctor, which we'll get into in a minute, but it's always ambiguous as to where this fits in the timeline, because why would the Ruth Doctor have a police box TARDIS, and why would they call themselves the Doctor, unless the Doctor coincidentally picks up the same name twice, which is odd. The first Doctor named himself the Doctor, so that's a bit odd. And yeah, so apparently they had who knows how many lives, then had their memories erased, then were reset and became a baby, and were raised in some sort of a children's home, and then grew up to be in an old room Hartnell. It's like, so it's both a case of, okay, it kind of fits in canon because they don't remember it, but at the same time, if you don't need to think about it, then what was the point? So, like, it doesn't do anything, and it doesn't go anywhere. It's like you wanted to explore this cool past the Doctor has, but it's like you're trying to pull off what happened with the War Doctor, but you can't do it as organically. Especially since, like, also, I will say this, there are lots of people who say, oh, so the Doctor has infinite regenerations, so what was the point of the 11th Doctor? No, the Time Lord said they can limit the amount of regenerations you had. Presumably, when the Doctor had their memories erased, they also had that same 12 limit put onto them. That way, 11 really is the last one of the cycle before 12 came along. It would make sense. That way it really was 11 who died on Trenzalore before time was changed, so they didn't die on Trenzalore. Because after all, if that's the case, why were these timeless Doctors not seen in the Doctor's time stream in Name of the Doctor? The only option is that the time stream can only track things you remember. That's the only option, otherwise there's no answer. So yeah, I don't know how I feel about the Timeless Children. It's like, on one hand, it's like, whatever. It doesn't make a huge deal. On the other hand, there's like it just raises more questions than it answers, and it goes nowhere. And it's like, what do you really get out of saying the Doctor has this elaborate past? Besides, a lot of us like the idea that the Doctor was normal, or at least normal by Time Lord standards, and then they rose above it and decided to be something interesting, rather than being this crazy chosen one who's been from another dimension. Also, I guess that means the Doctor is a hybrid, or the Master's a hybrid, because everyone's part Time Lord and part whatever the fuck the Doctor actually is, because the Doctor's not a Gallifreyan. Anyway, let's move on to the episode that preceded it. In fourth place, Ascension of the Cybermen. This is before we actually got into the mess of the Timeless Child, and this one's at least better because it's got Cybermen, it's got the companions split up, it's got a confrontation with the lone Cyberman, it's nice episode, there's lots of craziness at the end of the world, it's a good Cyberman episode, and there's a lot of setup and build-up, and the cliffhanger with the Master showing up is fun too, so, it's nice to have all the companions split off, seeing Graham and Yaz have to hide from the Cybermen. There's lots of good stuff happening in this episode, and it's a nice episode compared to what follows it. Alright, speaking of controversial episodes, it's Fugitive of the Judoon. Positive points, we got the Judoon, and we got Jack. He's back. What did he achieve, other than warning us of a Cyberman? Not much, but he's fun. The Judoon are fun. And controversial though she may be, the Fugitive Doctor is fun. She's played well. That's at least something to keep in mind. But, as I said, why does she have a blue police box TARDIS, and why does she call herself Doctor? Now, there has been some theories that this is actually in Season 6B, and takes place between 2 and 3. That would at least explain why A, the TARDIS is a police box, B, they call themselves the Doctor, and C, why the inside looks a lot like a classic TARDIS. This would have all been a well and truly good theory. Unfortunately, Flux basically confirmed that she definitely is from before William Hartnell, so there goes that. Why does she have a blue police box? Fuck if I know. And I guess this TARDIS is a different TARDIS, because it can't be the same one that the first Doctor stole. Or is it? We need some answers, you lunatic Chibnall! But anyways, the Judoon are fun, the Fugitive is fun, even though there's a lot of questions, and Jack is fun, and the interactions between Jack and the companions are fun. Oh boy, this season's a mess! Like I said, the episodes that piss me off have fun moments. Like I said, both the Fugitive and Timeless Children have fun moments with the Master and Jack and so on, which elevates them, because they're fun to watch, even if the premise pisses you off. Alright, let's get into some actually good episodes. Nikola Tesla's Night of Terror. Oh man, this is a good one actually. We go into the past, we meet a historical figure, we get to learn what their life is like, we get to feel like they were underappreciated in their time, we get to have historical figures, we get a decent alien villain, like an actual alien villain, yay! And it's like, this was a nice episode. It's not a crazy, super crazy plot twist episode, it's not a crazy bombastic finale. It's just a nice episode, and compared to all the craziness in this episode, it's the only one that I can call a standard episode. But it's a nice one. And that's second place, which leaves in first place, Spyfall. I actually like this one. It's the only two-parter. It introduces us to the Master, and he's a great Master, okay? He's a great Master. The plot twist, obviously, in the first half, when we first are introduced to the Master, is great, and even before that, he's a fun character. Having all the companions split off is also a fun aspect before they reunite. That's great too. There's lots of action and craziness in this story, which I absolutely love. Like I said, it reminds me of the opening of Series 6 and Series 9, where, because we've got the same Doctor and the same companions, we get to have a crazy two-parter opening with lots of chaos and fun and revelations. So honestly, yeah, like I said, having opening a season with a two-parter is always so good, and I really enjoyed this in first watch, and I remember the excitement, and of course I remember everyone flipping out when we found out who the Master was. So yeah, honestly, Spyfall's got everything. Action, the Master, a lot of good Doctor moments. That moment where they're talking on the Eiffel Tower is great. Some historical figures who are underappreciated. We really just throw everything into this episode too. A nice, proper plot for the Master to have. So yes, that is my ranking of Series 12. Oh boy, what a controversial season. And that's it, I'm afraid. The next, I will not be doing a ranking of Series 13. One, because all the episodes are basically one big story, and two, I've already reviewed every future episode individually at this point. Everything beyond Series 12, I've already reviewed as an individual piece. So, I will, however, be ranking the seasons as they are, meaning I will order from worst season to best season. I'll be doing on video on that, and after that, I'll be reviewing the Centenary Special, whenever that happens. We still don't have an episode name for it. Going back to the Fugitive of the Doom, by the way, notice the colors when Ruth breaks the glass and she gets her memories back? Those colors more closely match the colors we see in the trailer for the Centenary Special, so maybe that image is not the Doctor regenerating. But I'm getting ahead of myself. This'll all be pointless once we see the Centenary Special. Anyway, I will see you next time for more Doctor Who videos and other things as well. See you next time, guys.